You know, like I said, it happens, and hopefully some kids can learn from it, but just don't get caught.
I'm down to dunk.
And I'm down to dunk. I'm down to dunk. This is J-Dub, and I'm down to dunk.
I'm Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lindy Waters, and I'm down to dunk. I'm Mike Muscala, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Jay Will, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Kenneth Williams, and I'm down to dunk.
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to dunk.
Will you say this is Lou Dort and I'm down to Dort?
This is Lou Dort, and I'm down to Dort.
Cracklin Oat Bran?
Have you had Cracklin Oat Bran?
No,
No. Okay.
but it's healthy.
Are you a big oat brand guy?
I'm a big Oat Bran guy.
Okay.
I think I would switch it with Fruity Pebbles.
Okay, eat faster. Don't put as much in the bowl.
Do you have a gallon of milk I can also take home?
You don't have milk at home?
One cinnamon toast.
Okay.
Crunch. Yeah. Cereal is great. Yeah.
Welcome to Down to Dunk. I'm your host, Andrew Schlecht. We're part of the Athletic Podcast Network. With me, as always, on Wednesdays is my good friend Alex Speers. Alex, what's up?
What's up, Andrew? I'm wearing my Oregon Zoo hat because I just became a zoo member.
I was going to say, is that like a gift for becoming a zoo member?
No, it's actually not a gift. I just got a discount on it because.
I was going to say I don't get a hat for being a zoo member here in OKC. Wow.
Sorry, my voice sounds. I'm sick, so that's why my voice sounds this way.
Did you get sick from being around all the kangaroos?
We actually don't have kangaroos. We have so many other animals, but you pick the one.
Really?
We don't have no kangaroos.
No. Possums.
You know what? I walked across the street. This was about 2 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
And there was a guy standing in the parking lot of, it's called Plaid Pantry. It's like our 7-Eleven.
Uh-huh.
And there was a tiny little possum, a little baby possum just walking in circles. And he was waiting for like animal control to come see it. It was so cute looking, even though they're so nasty, but they're great animals. They do so much for us. They eat ticks. You know, you're a big possum guy, right?
Oh, they're terrible.
They're disgusting, but they're important. They're important to our ecosystem.
Sure. I'll give them that. I'll give them their important.
Okay. I'll give them that. I'll give possums that.
So first of all, we're having a draft party next Thursday night.
Yeah.
Downtown. So
where at?
It's at oh my gosh, I don't know why I just forgot the name of the place. It's at Fassler Hall. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. Draft party at Fassler Hall. Be there or be square.
Well, sounds like you're going to be square.
I will be square. Everybody else be there, be square. Fassler Hall. Just get there around 6. Plan to eat some food, hang out, watch the draft with your favorite friends.
Watch Andrew vomit on live television.
Watch me potentially throw up on live television. But yeah, you don't want to miss this. The Thunder could trade up. If they're trading up and they get somebody awesome, you don't want to be sitting in your living room by yourself, or you don't want to be sitting in your living room with people that don't really quite get it. You want to be in a place where you're sitting around everybody that gets it. They understand why you're excited, and you're all going to be able to chit chat about it. And you'll be able to hang out with the L-Man and Jay and Taylor. So go to Fassler Hall next Thursday night. We're also going to have a very limited edition of Down to Dunk glasses with Lively Beer Works that will be available to very, very few people. So you want to get there first if you want one of those. So yeah, Fassler Hall next Thursday night. Do it. Alex, the Nuggets won the championship. How about that?
Woo!
Pretty cool. Pretty interesting for teams that are wanting to build through the draft. This is I mean, I guess you could say that the Warriors are a team that built through the draft. They won last year.
Yeah, definitely.
But the Nuggets are this is the first team not in California or Texas to win the title from the Western Conference since like the 70s.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Since the Sonics.
Doing the math in my head. Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
That sounds wild.
Isn't that crazy?
It's unbelievable.
So pretty big deal for Denver to win. It's probably the I guess outside of Texas, it's like one of the first championships ever in like the middle of the country.
Yeah, I mean Milwaukee's sort of,
it's middle-ish too.
sort of
Yeah.
them, but yeah.
Yeah.
More teams that kind of fit the OKC mold.
Yes.
Where they give you some belief beyond just how they're built, but just, their status within the league.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that they built through the draft and it wasn't like, hey, they drafted Jokic, we're in the playoffs a couple years later, lost in the first round, lost in the conference finals, won the title. It was all over the place. It took them 4 years after they drafted Jokic to even get to the playoffs. And then they're losing in round one. They get to the conference finals in the bubble. They lose in round one last year and finally get there. So it's just kind of all over the place. And just like a testament to a team that's just kind of stuck with it. They stuck with their coach. They stuck with their core. St. Mamek reported at The Athletic that they had a chance to trade for Kyrie Irving in 2017, I guess.
Yeah.
Which seems silly now, but at the time probably wouldn't have felt as silly just because.
I'm trying to. So that would have been when he got traded to Boston.
Yeah.
Okay. So he still had a few years left. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Or he had 1 year left, I guess, because he played the 1 year in Boston. Is that right?
Yes. He played the 1 year in Boston and then had like the whole, be in Boston for the rest of my life or whatever. But at the time, like Kyrie was not the crazy Kyrie that we know today, or at least publicly, wasn't.
Oh, he played 2 years in Boston. So he must, when he got traded, he must have
2 years in Boston.
Yeah, I know. I don't remember. And he played a lot of games too. 127 games.
Wow.
Across those 2 seasons.
How did I not remember that was 2 years?
Because so that would have been like because I was just thinking like how real really was that? Because if you're a team like Denver, can you really trade for someone like Kyrie who's an expiring? But if he had 2 years left, that probably was like a legitimate conversation.
Yeah. I think. I mean, I guess it would have been. But anyways, they stuck with their core. They shuffled the deck around their core and finally found a title contending team. And part of it was health, certainly this year, but just the fact that they were able to see this through and actually win a championship was pretty impressive.
Hey, man, pretty cool. And they did a trade with us during the finals, which was cool of them to include us in some way.
Yeah. We, does the 37th pick make the parade?
Oh, wow. Yeah, because no, he doesn't.
But just the idea, maybe just like a banner that says pick 37 from the Thunder.
Pick 37 from the Thunder and some pick from next year, some second rounder from next year.
Yeah.
In addition to the first.
What did you think of that? What did you think of the trade?
I mean, it's annoying in the sense that we went through this exact same thing last year when they traded the 30th pick, the Peyton Watson pick.
Yeah.
And the initial reporting was the exact same. It was trading it for a protected first round pick. Now, at that time, because we knew it was the 30th pick, we were like, okay, like anything we trade it for is going to be likely better than 30.
Yeah.
So it's already a solid trade, and no one was really obsessing about the protections. And then it comes out it's top 5 protected, and we're like, oh, well, obviously, like what a great trade. And another great thing about that trade is that was the first round pick that they got in the CP3 deal.
Yeah.
Which, in retrospect, because CP3 was so good in Phoenix, it was like, oh man, that's kind of a bummer of a pick to get back for CP3. But then you flip into the top 5 protected, you feel great.
Oh yeah, feeling good.
And so you fast forward a year, and it's like the exact same reporting. Again, protected first round pick. And no one wants to tell us what the protections are. but all these national people are assuming it's like heavily protected or lottery protected, which just makes zero sense to me. I mean, maybe it would end up being that, but it makes zero sense why you would default to that, considering that a trade just like this happened last year. Like, why would Presti do that? You know, like why would he trade for a heavily protected pick in this scenario?
I would be surprised if it was.
Yeah, just the whole conversation around that just bothers me, especially the conversation where people are like, "Oh, Presti's having to give away picks at this point. You save up all these picks. We're starting to see the downsides of this. You're having to just give away picks for free."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, all these same people, if you ask them to go back to all of these trades where Sam Presti acquired these first, what is the trade that he got screwed up? What is the trade that he shouldn't have done?
Who are you so annoyed by? I guess I'm just not seeing the same stuff you're seeing.
Dude, it was every national person on my timeline. Like Nekias Duncan even said something about it, tweeted about it.
I guess I just don't care.
Well, it bothered me, Andrew, because you look back at those trades. It's like, okay, the Houston pick came from the Westbrook trade, which everyone agrees was a good trade.
Yeah.
The Clippers pick came from the PG trade, which everyone agrees was a good trade. The Utah pick came from taking on 2 years of Derek Favors. They got a top 10 protected pick for that. Yeah. Everyone agrees that's a good trade. Like, what was the trade that they've made over these last few years where they shouldn't have taken, gotten or they didn't get enough, or they shouldn't have taken back a first? Like, should they have kept Kelly Oubre? Don't go back and listen to those podcasts. Should they have kept Rubio?
Here's the thing that people miss with this is that it is not easy to get a 29 pick right now. Like, what other team has an extra 2029 pick? They're not picks that you can just go get. And I think Presti's strategy is no different than when he made the Clippers pick, or when he traded for the Clippers picks or the Rockets picks. Those are both teams that were at the top, or at least perceived to be at the top. And he's betting that they're not going to be at the top by then. It is just unlikely that 6 years down the road that now he's like he's directly betting on their future and saying like, hey, I actually think that they're probably not going to be there, because most teams that are at the tip top find their way, they fall, whether that be as far as like, even if it's like the 14th pick or something like that,
Yeah, well, especially after you see how Jokic responded in the post-game ceremony. does not come across as a guy who just like lives, breathes, eats basketball and wants to do this until he just cannot go anymore. He sounds like a guy who kind of wants to do what he needs to do to like establish his legacy, and then he's going to get the hell out. Like, is he really going to play when he's 34? I mean, if people are already putting him in like the top 20 conversation, and legitimately so because of the 2 MVPs and already having a ring, like if he gets another ring, just the way he talked about basketball made me think like, I don't know if this guy's going to be like.
He was annoyed by the idea of a parade.
Yeah, like he does not come across the way like Chris Paul comes across. Chris Paul seems like,
oh man,
he's going to play until he can't play, and then he's probably going to go into coaching. And he's just always going to be around.
He's going to be in the league forever. Yeah.
And I do not get that impression from Jokic, which is perfectly fine. But when we're thinking about these future picks, it's like, hey, go race your horses. Whenever you want.
To have their 27 and 29 picks, I think it's a good bet. And that's what he's doing. He's just betting that they won't be good by then. And also, even if they are good, to have 2 first-round picks to trade or to draft with, because we saw like Christian Brown was actually quite important to Denver, and he's cheap. To either have cheap guys to have on your roster, or to be able to use those picks to trade, if you can take 2 first-round picks and like a decent chunk of salary, you can get something really good.
Yeah.
So like it's a play for the future. They weren't going to draft 4 rookies next year anyways. They and here's the deal with the 37th pick this year. if they really wanted to get a pick in the 30s, they could probably go get a pick in the 30s.
Well, also that like they could have kept it. Like if they had identified that as that part of the draft as being just, a rich source of all of these prospects, they probably would have just kept it.
Yeah, totally. And I don't really see it necessarily as a like roster spots issue. I see it more as just they like their guys.
Oh no, he was pressured. He had to get rid of him, Andrew. He had to get rid of him.
I think the only people that care about the roster spots are just like OKC fans. Because Sam made a great trade with Houston, before the season last year to clear those roster spots. And it just did not seem like it was that big of a deal. And we're like,
yeah, it was very rude too, because we spent multiple podcast episodes going over like, okay, who would you keep out of Teo, Veet, Derek Favors? And we were saying like, it was really nice that Derek Favors showed up at Vegas. Maybe we'll keep him around just because he's a good veteran presence. And then he just gets rid of all of them.
And he's like, no, they're all gone.
Yeah, what a waste of time.
It's a big waste of time. Yeah. All that to say, this is a play for the future. We don't know what the protections are, but I would guess that they are favorable to the Thunder. Just because
I can't wait.
Because
I
of
can't
what they
wait for them to come out.
So anybody that's saying stuff, they don't get it, and that's okay. Most people now, everybody don't know how to talk about the Thunder. They don't know how to talk about what they're doing. They don't know how to talk about the team. They don't know how to talk about the Thunder. Like, that's just a reality.
The only thing that ever bothers me, honestly, is just this idea that it's bad to have all these first. That there's some reckoning coming where they're going to have to get rid of them or give them up for cheap. And it's like, who even if they did, who cares? Like, look at their roster, the same roster that everyone thinks is such a great young roster.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Or you literally do what Sam just did, and you take like the horde of picks and you thin it out and you press it out into the future, where you still basically have the same stuff, but now it's just spread out further.
Yeah.
Where it can actually help you. That is it. It is dumb to think that that's a bad thing, or that something bad has happened to the Thunder. That it's.
Oh, I wish we were Detroit and just didn't have any picks.
Oh, we should just give them all away to charity. We should just give them all to Charlotte.
I think people legitimately want Sam when he does one of these trades. Like when he did the SGA trade, gets like 5 or 6 picks. He should have said, "Clippers, would you mind taking one back?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm worried about it. Would you mind just taking one back?"
It's too many.
It's too many.
Yeah. I mean, I do the same thing when I negotiate my contract. Is like when they try to offer me more money, I'll say, listen, it's too much. Just
please take a little bit back.
Just stop.
Will you at least take some sick days from me? Just give me fewer sick days. And
you know what? Let me pay for my own insurance. Okay. Because it's just too much.
And like, I would get it if people didn't like the roster, but like people like the roster. Like, it's clearly all working out so far.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it will work out, but it's working out so far. And so whatever.
Yeah. And they're far from done. There's a lot of things that can happen, including the draft, which is 8 days away.
Yeah. So are you even going to be able to do a Wednesday pod next week?
I don't even know.
Because it's draft eve.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Brooklyn, and we're going to be, I don't know. We might have to do it on Tuesday.
Wow.
So we'll see. I don't know. I get there pretty early. So maybe. I don't know.
So Jonathan Gavoni
released
a new mock draft today.
He did.
And there was some
nuggets in
there.
Yeah.
So first of all, for Andrew, he mocked Kobe Buffkin to the Thunder. Congrats.
Thank you. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about that. I would love for Kobe Buffkin to be on this team. Obviously. and I don't have to tell you why, because if you're listening right now, you already know why.
The only other names that were associated with Thunder, Control F Thunder, were Derek Lively,
Yeah.
Grady Dick,
Mm-hmm.
and Bilal, in the sense that he said that the Jazz and Thunder both sent decision makers to Monaco this week to take another look at Koulibaly.
Yeah.
So those were the only names that were brought up in reference to the Thunder.
Mhm.
Derek Lively, Grady Dick. The Derek Lively one was a little interesting just because he said the Magic, the Thunder, and Hawks are also believed to have interest. Two of those teams, Magic and Thunder, usually don't get a lot of leaks from them. So who knows what that's based on, but
Yeah.
thought it was just interesting that those were the names that they were associated with.
I tend to believe when things are said like that around this time,
It's
of
more from
year,
the agent.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely from the agent side or from a
It's not Sam Presti
or
telling
it's from
Jeremy Wu who he's interested in.
or it's from other teams that just think that that's true.
Yeah.
And more often than not, it tends to be not correct.
Who knows though? We'll never know. Maybe,
But
they
you
were
don't know
interested
until
once
you
upon a
know.
time.
You never know until you know.
Some of the other things in this article, the Warriors are exploring the option of acquiring a high draft pick for Jonathan Kuminga, which I was looking through like the order, trying to
That's
see
what I
like
was doing.
who might be interested in that kind of a deal, because I'm sure there are probably still teams that are high on Kuminga or feel like he's been used incorrectly and would like to give him a larger role. Like if the Rockets were lower down than 4,
Mm-hmm.
I can maybe see them doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Might make some sense.
Utah at 9.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean the problem with Kuminga is that you get him for one more year, and I'm assuming you're trading for him because you want to give him a larger role, and then you're going right into extension talks.
Yeah.
And so you have to really like him than whatever your options are in this draft.
Yeah. It's also a red flag to all the teams that are trying to trade for him that the Warriors are trying to trade him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, that as well. I don't know. I mean, Toronto,
I mean, yeah.
13?
If you're at 13 and I think I would probably do that.
Okay.
And just be like, yeah, whatever.
There's
fine.
one.
Yeah.
But like even the Mavs, with the Mavs, is that I don't know.
Is Kuminga really more ready to help than
like Grady Dick,
Jason Wallace or Grady Dick or Taylor Hendricks?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. I wouldn't do it. I would just take the guys. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. So good luck to them.
Good luck.
Warriors.
There's a lot of people that still like Jonathan Kuminga quite a bit.
Hey, prove it. give up a top 10 pick for him.
Well, I'm talking more like media people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm not one of them. Obviously the Warriors aren't one of them either. So
yeah, it's really tough because it feels like even if you do believe in him, he's kind of developed in a way that hasn't been particularly suited to what his ceiling could be.
Yeah.
He's kind of being developed as a role player.
Yeah.
Whereas if he had gone, even if he had gone to OKC, we talked back then, we didn't think they were going to take him.
Yeah.
But he would have gotten the beige treatment. He would have gotten to just like try stuff out, see what his limits were, which I think would have been good for him.
Also, who's making that decision?
What decision?
In Golden State.
Oh, probably Mike Dunleavy Jr.
I guess
I'm assuming.
So. Yeah.
Or Lacob's son.
I was going to say the Lacobs. This feels like something the Lacobs might do.
Yeah. Other things, a lot of this we kind of know. Blazers will continue to explore trades for 3, but would be pleased with staying put for Scoot or Brandon Miller. Obviously, they're going to say that, even if they want to trade. Like, why wouldn't?
Yeah.
No, like we hate both of these guys.
We've got to trade this pick.
Help us. Use this pick. Mavs are listening to trade offers for number 10. Okay.
Yeah.
Lakers are exploring trades with teams who own multiple first-round picks. I'm already guaranteeing you right now, Lakers are going to come out of this draft and people are going to be pumped about whoever they get because they're in the perfect spot at pick 17. I think
There's going to be somebody good there. Yeah.
somebody's going to drop, like Nick Smith Jr. That was I think who he might have mocked to them in this one.
Yeah.
If he falls to them, everyone's going to go insane. Oh my gosh, that's so bad. He's a top 5 high school prospect. Oh my gosh,
Come on.
I can't believe this. The mock or the player and team that he had that I was like, oh, that sounds exactly correct. Is where is it down here? Brandon Podzimski to the Grizz.
Yeah, Pajemski. Yeah.
That feels like a very
Yeah.
Grizz.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Not in a bad way, just like that. That sounds
That he's
correct.
He's ready to go. Yeah, Jaime Jaquez to the Blazers too. I
Yeah.
actually talked about that with Vecini last week. Just
I kind of liked that one as well.
where he would go because he could. I think he'll just play right away, just because he's a little older and he's NBA ready body and can kind of fit wherever. Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if like Rayon Rupert going to the Heat. That was a little strange to me. Basically everyone. Oh, never mind. They have Taylor Hendricks to the Jazz now because last mock draft they had Jalen Hood-Schifino at 9, and I was very confused. But he has been bumped down to 13 now.
Even 13 just seems high to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Cason Wallace steadily falling down. I feel like there's so many people who really like him, but every Intel mock draft has him going later than I would expect.
Yeah, I like him a lot too. I would take him if I was the Thunder, but
yeah,
he does seem to be falling, which is a little strange. But if Buffkin's going to rise so much, somebody's got to fall.
Somebody's got to fall. And then Asar Thompson's going to work out for the Pacers, and I've been doing a more deep dive on Asar Thompson. I'm starting to cool off a little bit on the Thompson twins, Andrew.
Yeah. There's a lot to be concerned about with them.
I'm just getting a little nervous. Asar apparently has a pretty wide range in the lottery of where he might go.
Yeah, I like the size and athleticism and passing.
Yeah.
Those are things that I like. Hey, also Sam Vecini
released his draft guide.
Dropped this morning. It's beautiful. He's got like a top 100 board. That's pretty cool.
Where's he got Buffkin?
11.
11, okay.
Buffkin at 11. Yep.
The other thing, which I don't know if you talked to McKelly about, was the Pelicans rumors.
No, they didn't surface until after we talked.
Okay. So unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard from Sham Sharania that the Pelicans are aggressively trying to trade up to get Scoot Henderson, either pick 2 or pick 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great piece of Scuttlebutt because it's very believable when you start thinking through all the different aspects of this. Whether it be all the stuff that's going on with Zion or the fact that their roster is just getting really expensive really quickly, with Zion's extension kicking in soon. And this is a team that, has made the playoffs once, and they already have this really expensive roster.
Yep.
And they've needed a lead point guard for a while now. I mean, even when Lonzo was there, he wasn't really a lead point guard. Even when Drew Holiday was there, he wasn't really like a lead point guard in the traditional way we think about it. And so Scoot Henderson make a lot of sense for them just positionally.
Yeah.
And then, I've been so focused on Portland this entire time. What is Portland going to do? Are they going to trade the 3rd pick? And then you see a rumor like this and you're like, man, this makes so much sense for the Hornets based on everything we know about the Hornets. Like, if their GM is going to come out after the draft lottery and say, we're at a point where we can start drafting for fit, like, why would they not want to trade for Brandon Ingram as overtaking someone like Brandon Miller? Like, that sounds like exactly the sort of thing they would want to do. If they believe that they're going to bounce back quickly next year, which bounce back means, I guess, like get back to the play-in because that's where they were before. Like, adding someone like Brandon Ingram makes way more sense for that plan than taking Brandon Miller. If you're going to do a slow build, then obviously taking Brandon Miller or Scoot Henderson would make more sense. But if you have the opportunity to get Brandon Ingram, he's 25. He's still 25.
Yeah.
Like that makes a ton of sense to me for the Hornets. I don't know if they do it or not, but the idea of it makes a lot of sense.
Would you want to trade Zion or Ingram if you're New Orleans?
I mean, all comes down to health for Zion. I don't really care about the off the court stuff. I mean, it's been entertaining as a neutral observer.
The off the court stuff that I care about is just all of the health stuff and the way that it's
that's it.
And the optics on a lot of it are just bad, like
Yeah.
straight up bad. The other stuff is also straight up bad, but
It doesn't like really matter. Like, and hopefully,
yeah,
both because he's about to become a dad, and also just like seeing this other woman just post all of his Snapchats for days on end. Hopefully, that was like a wake up call for him. You would imagine, like that's about as bad as it can get for a professional athlete.
the top of that 18 draft is just the most embarrassed number 1 and number 2 pick maybe in the history of the league right now.
And like both great players,
Both great
like
players,
talent wise, amazing picks. They both nailed it.
yeah, they did the exact right thing, and they are both so embarrassed.
It's just, yeah, it's a mess.
So bad. Yeah, it's just.
But that said, like all of his off court stuff, like I just don't care about it. And I think like,
it's a bad look,
but who cares?
but is it going to affect his playing career? Probably not. As like a lot of NBA players been through this exact scenario.
This is just like an extreme version of it, where it's just everything is out in public.
Yes.
So yeah, so it all come down to, you know, whether they think he's healthy or not, and who knows. But I think they would probably go with trading Brandon Ingram just because the ceiling is still so much higher with Zion. I mean, we've kind of, as good as Brandon Ingram has been, you still like, do you really think he's a number 1 guy on like a good team? As good as he's been.
I mean, probably no, I don't.
Whereas you can feel pretty confident that if Zion was healthy, like that could be a number 1 guy on a good team. So I
guess
think
I guess like if you could trade Zion for Scoot, and you thought Scoot could be your number 1, would the better bet be to have Scoot and BI or Scoot and
I think Scoot and BI is the safer option, but I think you're still going to have a higher ceiling with Scoot and Zion.
That is true. It all comes down to like how risk averse they are.
Yeah.
With it all, because you're gonna have to give up something real good, and it can't just be like, hey, we're gonna give you 4 picks and Trey Murphy,
Right.
you know. Yeah,
Who's also good.
he's good.
And they need to keep him.
He's
in
good.
this scenario if they're going to bring in Scoot, who has shooting questions, and then keep Zion, who doesn't shoot.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So that's incredible, Scuttlebutt. I love it.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
It's unlikely to happen, but it's great.
Be prepared for more Scuttlebutt.
Yeah, give us more like that.
Yeah,
that like really sent me down like I had to sit down and think about that one for a while because it was so good.
Yeah, that's really good.
Okay, are you ready
Do
to move on?
you have anybody that you zeroed in on at 12 for the Thunder that you're just like, okay, this is who I would want to have like a group of 3? I'm gonna keep talking until you can kind of work out your coughing.
The guys that I would be perfectly happy with. Oh, well, actually, I shouldn't say that because I'd be perfectly happy with a lot of these guys.
There's so many. Michele and I went through this exercise on Monday where we talked about like, are you in, out?
Yeah. I still really like Leonard Miller. I know I haven't talked about him in a few weeks, but I just still really like him.
Yeah.
I love how productive he was at that level.
Yeah.
Size, the skill. I really like him. I keep seeing him falling further and further down in mock drafts. Gavoni had him going 26 to the Pacers, but I still really like him.
Yeah.
Other guys, I mean, again, I'd be happy with any of these guys. Kobe Buffkin, Bilal. Even though everything I said about Bilal last week, I'd still be perfectly happy with it. Grady Dick, Derek Lively, Taylor Hendricks. If if they got Taylor Hendricks, I would be more excited than all those guys I just mentioned.
Yeah, I think I would as well. I'm in the weird place with him, and I think I've said this on multiple podcasts, but just that I'd be surprised if they took him, but he's one of my favorite, like, is he a Thunder guy players?
Yeah. That would be very exciting. Mainly because you instantly see the fit, and so now going into next year, you're like, oh my gosh, like all the pieces have fallen into place.
Yeah, and he's versatile in that he can play the 4 and the 5, and you can play lots of different lineups with him. Like you could play him with Chet, you could play him with Kenrich, you could play
for sure.
with J-Dub, you know.
Yeah, the fact that he would offer some additional rim protection, because they really don't have a lot of rim protection outside of Chet.
Yeah. I mean, it's very, very easy to see how he would fit with this roster.
Yeah. So
however, him not making decisions with the basketball make me question whether he would be a Thunder.
And maybe he wouldn't have to, Andrew. The decisions will be made for him.
I know that. I that's why it's easy to see it.
Yeah. So I mean, Taylor Hendricks feels like the most realistic, where maybe he could potentially fall to 12. I still don't really believe that. Or maybe they can move up to 10 and get him in a deal with Dallas. It still feels like just out of reach, like just unattainable.
Yeah.
But realistic enough where I'll dream about it. Whereas the guys above that, I don't know. As we get closer to the draft, I'm just feeling that they're not going to make like a big trade up, even though there do seem to be so many teams willing to trade out.
Just when you think they aren't going to do it, that's when they do it.
That'd be great. I'd love to reverse jinx this, because if they traded up, oh my God, that would be exciting. Just to know that they identified someone, you could know beyond the shadow of a doubt that like this was their guy. That would make me feel very excited. Okay, you ready to play my game?
Take a break and then let's play your game.
Ooh.
And we're back after the quick break. Now it's time to play a game.
Yeah, so this is going to be a fun game, folks, and I would encourage you to go on YouTube, because it'll heighten the experience even more. Because I'm going to share something in a second. So one of the things about this draft, Andrew, is that I look across the guys typically going in the top 10 or in the lottery, and I kind of like all of them.
Yeah,
like it's hard for me to identify the obvious bust.
Yeah.
I think back to Hashim Thabit's year, where I like instantly knew that is not a good pick. That is a bust. I hated the pick immediately.
Everyone's dad and grandpa knew that wasn't going to work out.
Yes, I do not feel that way about anyone in this draft. Okay?
Yeah.
So, let me share something. Are you going to let me share?
I would love to let you share. I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, I think. Okay, can you see that?
Oh yeah, I got you. Yep.
Okay, so I started with the 2019 draft,
and
I went back to 2010. So that's 10 drafts, and I went through just the lottery, and I organized the guys who were taken in the lottery into a couple different categories, 5 categories. First category, all NBA players, pretty straightforward.
Yep,
those are guys who made an all NBA team. Shea is included in that. Next, high-end starter / all-star. So these could be guys who made an all-star team but have never made all-NBA, like Brandon Ingram. Or it could just be a high-end starter who's never made the all-star game, like Jamal Murray, Mikal Bridges, CJ McCollum, those types of players. Basically, if you are drafting anyone in these first 2 groups, you're feeling amazing about your pick.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Third one, starter key bench player. So I'm thinking guys like Steven Adams, for instance. A guy who has pretty reliably been a starter and a solid starter in the NBA for a long time. Not really ever thought of as a fringe all-star player, kind of just below that, but still a really good player.
Wendell Carter Jr.
Exactly. Wendell Carter Jr., Markelle Fultz, I included in that as well. I even included Tyler Hero in there, which some people might want to bump him higher, but I kind of felt like starter key bench player. You're still feeling pretty good about this category. Role player are guys who stick in the league a long time, but they're always kind of in a smaller role. The classic example I had for this was Terrence Ross. Just a guy who you kind of associate him. He's been in the league this a long time, but he's always kind of just been a role player.
Yeah.
And then you have the fringe / out of the league. That's what OOL stands for. Fringe / out of the league. These are guys who maybe they stuck around a while, but they've always kind of been, if they weren't in the league the next year, it wouldn't have surprised you, or they just were completely out of the league by their second contract.
Yeah. Is this for the lottery?
Just for the lottery.
Okay.
So just the top 14 picks.
Okay.
So just as an example, let's just go through a draft so you can see like how I separated people out. So I think 2016 is a really straightforward one.
Yeah.
So 2016 All NBA players: Ben Simmons,
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown,
Yep.
and Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah.
High-end starters, there were 2. It was Brandon Ingram
Yeah.
and Jamal Murray.
Yep.
Starters / key bench player, there were 2, and it was Buddy Hield and Jakob Poeltl.
Yep.
Pretty solid guys. And then role players, I think were there any? Oh, there was one. Who did I say is the one? Oh, Taurean Prince.
Yeah. Wait, where'd you have Buddy Hield?
Buddy Hield, he was a starter
Okay.
/ key bench player.
Okay.
And then that draft. So these are the guys I considered fringe / out of the league.
Yeah.
Denzel Valentine, Papa G, Yorgos Papagiannis,
Drafted 13.
Thon McCurr, Marquise Chris Dunn, Dragan Bender. Again, I know Chris Dunn had a nice moment this past season.
Don't
But
even
like
do
if
that.
he was
Don't
out
even
of the
say
league
that.
next
Don't
year,
even do it. Don't do it. Don't say it. Don't do it. Don't say it.
So that's kind of how I went through. 2016 is a pretty straightforward one. There were guys where I had questions, like Aaron Gordon, for instance. Do you consider him a starter key bench player, or you consider him a high-end starter / fringe all-star? You can go back and forth on some of these.
Probably starter key bench player.
Okay. So now what we're going to do, Andrew, is we're going to go through the last 4 drafts and slot these guys based on the average per draft. So for
We
instance,
can only include just a
yes.
few. Yeah.
So I've combined the first 2 groups because we said if you draft a guy who's a fringe all-star player for most of his career, like a CJ McCollum, you feel great. That's an awesome pick, all the way up to an All-NBA. On average, there's 4 of those guys in the lottery.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of them will be All-NBA, which we'll decide at the end. There's usually about 3 starters / key bench players. There's usually about 4 role players, and then there's 3 fringe out of the league players. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to go through the last 4 drafts: 2020, 2021, 2022, and then 2023. Now I've picked for 2023. I just kind of, I would say up to Grady Dick. I feel pretty confident those guys are going in the lottery, and then I just picked 4 guys.
Yeah. Those seem. I mean, Kaysen, Bufkin, Lively, Koulibaly seem. That seems about right.
Yeah, decent. Okay, so let's start with 2020.
Yeah.
All-NBA to fringe all-star. Anthony Edwards seems like obvious.
Edwards, obvious. LaMelo, obvious.
Tyrese Halliburton, obvious.
Tyrese Halliburton. Yep.
And then one more.
Do we have to choose one
You
more?
have to choose the amount that there is on average.
Vassell, probably.
Okay, Devin Vassell. That's probably who I would go with. So our All-NBA to fringe all-star players from the 2020 draft: Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, Tyrese Halliburton, Devin Vassell. Now we get to the starters / key bench players. I would say Patrick Williams.
Pat Williams, Okongwu.
I'd agree with that. And then maybe, depending on how you feel, like Denny
Coro?
Avdia.
No.
He's more a role player.
But
we got to pick someone, Andrew.
Okoro. Don't you think?
Really? Okay.
He's got that dog in him.
I know, but he feels like such a role player, like the definition of a role player.
He is. I still really like him.
Okay. So then Denny would be obvious role player.
Yeah, Denny, Toppin.
Neesmith, maybe?
Neesmith or Jalen Smith. One of the Smiths.
Do you want to go Wiseman? This is our last chance. Or we could go Killian Hayes, because once we choose this last player, all the rest will be fringe / out of the league.
Put Jalen Smith in. I think Jalen Smith can actually play.
Really? Wow. So that means that for our 3 fringe / out of the league players for the 2020 draft,
Yeah,
James Wiseman, Killian Hayes, and Kyra Lewis Jr.
that seems right.
So you feel good about that?
I feel really good about that. I just don't think Wiseman can play on like a winning team.
Yeah.
It's so hard to be a big man that doesn't play good NBA defense and isn't elite offensively to actually make it.
Okay. All right. So that's how we feel. And again, these could change year to year. Like this year wasn't particularly strong. Isaac Okoro should probably be a role player, but we'll keep going.
Yeah. It should be just a Kongwu and Pat Williams.
Yeah.
And Okoro is a role player, but yeah.
Okay. 2021, I say we start with fringe because it's super easy. Josh Primo, fringe out of the league. James Bouknight. Zaire, are you good with Zaire Williams? Or would you rather go with like a Duarte?
I think. Oh gosh,
we have to choose three.
I think I can see. I guess I'll put Zaire.
Okay. I think this is I want to work up to All NBA Fringe All Star since this is the Giddey draft.
Yeah.
So role players, Chris Duarte,
Moody,
and maybe
Davion.
Oh, but see, look where we have Kuminga now, Andrew.
Oh,
oh wait, we can still do Kuminga for role player.
4. Yeah, 4. Okay. Yeah. Role player.
So that feels good.
Yeah, we're good. Oh gosh, we're not good.
Why not? It looks great.
Yeah, it's fine. I guess. Yeah,
okay.
You got to start with Suggs.
Okay, so we get 3 starters or key bench players from the 2021 draft. We need to choose 2 more out of Franz Wagner, Josh Giddey, Scotty Barnes, Evan Mobley, Jalen Green, and Cade Cunningham.
Jalen Green next.
Okay. This is a Thunder podcast, so it's probably to be expected that we'd put him there.
This is a really elite group.
I agree, but we have to do it. We have to stick to it.
Okay.
So who would you go next?
I'm biased. I'm just biased. Like flat out, I'm biased. And I would put Franz Wagner there.
You would put Franz in the starter key bench.
I would, yeah.
See, I'd almost be tempted to go Scotty Barnes or Cade.
I wouldn't.
I
think Scotty's I think Scotty and Cade have just like another gear to go to.
Wow. Okay. I don't know if I endorse this, but I'm going to put Franz Wagner there. I think a case could be made that you could put Giddey there as well.
That would be who it would be between for me. But
that is who most fans of other teams would have put there. They would put Giddey, start a key bench.
Yeah, but people don't understand. Giddey is like so emblematic of like the Thunder themselves. Is that like, people don't know how to talk about. People don't know how to talk about Giddey, and people don't know how to talk about the Thunder.
Well, but at the same time, people don't know how to talk about Franz. Like there was a tweet the other day, like, who do you think is going to be the best out of this draft? And it was 4 players, and Franz was not included when he was like they had like Jalen Green as one of them.
Yeah, no, Franz is very good. He's very, very good.
Yeah,
he's definitely like the highest floor of almost anybody in that draft.
Oh, Jay Smith just texted us. People are so mad at your Franz hate.
It's not hate. Saying that
I think it might be hate, Andrew.
It's not hate at all. I think he's very good. I just think those other guys have a higher ceiling. To get to all NBA,
Dude, I would take Franz over Scotty. Franz is already a better defender. He's a better shooter. He can pass. Like I realize that he doesn't project as like the potential lead ball handler that Scotty does. But I think Scotty has gotten a little bit overrated. Like we think of him as this guy, this elite defender, when Franz is the better defender.
True. And I've heard some weird stuff about his personality.
All right, we're switching it. Franz is
flip
in the
him,
top tier.
Also, the shooting is a problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
The shooting is a problem. Also, Toronto's a trash organization. So,
oh my gosh, you just keep piling on.
I'm just joking about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel good about that. Cade, Mobley, Wagner, Giddey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's a tough year. I would say it's more likely that you would have more in that first,
I was gonna say, like, I would feel comfortable having Scotty in that group too, and having 5 there,
Yeah, but you got to choose.
then I would doing what we've had to do here.
But that we can't do that. Okay, 2022. So this is last year's draft. So this is going to get tough. I think the obvious one. I'm highlighting him now. Johnny Davis.
Yeah.
Let's move him to fringe out of the league. I feel pretty confident about that. We feel pretty good about Paulo being all NBA.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're Thunder fans, so let's put Chet.
Yeah.
all
I mean,
NBA.
come on.
Where do you want to go next?
What
do you feel confident about? I feel like Keegan Murray, starter,
yeah.
bench.
Yeah. That's easy. I think I feel that way about Duran as well.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think you can put J-Dub as one of your top 4.
Okay. All right.
Of this group.
I think Agbaji, role player
for sure.
Pretty good about that.
I think you can put so maybe Jeremy Sohan as a role player.
Okay. Oh, wow. You used to be so high on Jeremy, and now you've downgraded him to role player.
Yeah. I don't know what to do with Jabari or Ivy.
So this is where, and I think this is what happens. Like in the moment, we would have never guessed that James Wiseman was going to be, fringe out of the league, that we would have put him there.
Mm-hmm.
Or even Killian Hayes. Like it's likely one of these guys. And honestly, I might put Oos there. Based on what I know right now. If you're going to
choose somebody from this group to be there, you probably have to choose Oos just based on what happened in his rookie season compared to these other guys.
He could turn it around, but comparing him to these players, I think you'd put him in the fringe / out of the league group.
Yeah. Who is our 4th?
We only have to have one more fringe guy. Now we can fill in these other ones. I feel like Dyson Daniels, role player, feel pretty confident there. Maybe even starter, key bench.
Yeah, I would leave him at role player. I wouldn't put him any higher than that.
Okay. We have one more starter key bench player. We have Jabari, Jaden Smith, Benedict Mathurin, and Shaedon Sharp. We also have one more All-NBA player.
I know. That's what I'm looking at.
I almost want to go Shaedon.
Yeah, I just don't trust. And this is why I struggle with Shaedon and Jaden Ivey. Is like I just don't trust what happens at the end of a season with a bad team with a high usage player. Like I just don't trust that it's real.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's what happened with both of these guys at the end of the season. That's also what happened with Trey Mann at the end of his rookie season, where we were like just gaga over Trey.
Well, would you feel better about moving Jalen Duren, bumping him up?
No.
Okay. You got to pick someone, Andrew.
I know. I don't like this. I don't like this one. I think I would feel more confident with Ben Mathurin and the All-Star Fringe.
Really? Okay.
Just because we've seen him really, really score.
For sure.
In moments where like the Pacers were competitive.
I would almost I could also see the argument for him as a role player.
I know, because he doesn't pass, and there's a lot. I don't know.
Like he absolutely could be like a microwave scorer. Like that could be his future. It could be much higher than that, but if someone wanted to argue for role player, I would.
Yeah, I would.
I'm starting to think Jabari as role player.
I would lean more toward starter key bench with him. And what I would probably do is move Abaji to fringe out and Ivy and Shaedon into the role player area.
Whew, that was a tough one.
Yeah. I could also see changing either Ivy or Sharp for Keegan Murray.
Really? Okay.
Just because of the upside. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
yeah.
are we for sure? Like Keegan Murray's older. Are we for sure that he's going to be so much better than he is now? And if he just is like this, but like just a little bit better, then he's probably just a role player, right?
But at the same time, he's already a starter on a playoff team. You know, like he was a starter on a 3 seed.
I know.
It's very hard to take that away from him.
This was not the greatest like at the top draft because we've struggled. So this is different than the 21 draft is obviously like very good at the top.
Yeah.
Where like you felt like you had to squeeze somebody out of there. And like in this one, you have to feel like you have to squeeze somebody in there. Like, okay, he doesn't really belong, but we have to put him there.
I don't like the Benedict pick. I don't like seeing Benedict all NBA fringe all-star.
Okay. Who do you feel good about then?
Like anyone else.
Well,
like,
make the case to me. Like, cause I'm having trouble getting there with any of these guys, honestly. Cause I'm not sure that I believe that Jabari could be that.
I think I would end up, if I was doing this, which I'm not, it's all you. These are all Andrew's opinions. If you hate them, it's all Andrew. I think I would go with Shaden just because I do really believe in the shot. Yeah. And he's young enough where it's very easy for me to imagine the upside with him.
Oh, I'm getting a text from one of my beat writer friends saying put Jabari in the All NBA Fringe All-Star.
Really? A beat writer's watching us.
And toss out Matherin. Yeah, my buddy Eric Name.
Oh wow.
Is watching. He's texting me right now. He said Jabari. He said toss out Matherin. I agree with that. I don't feel good about Matherin.
Okay, let's move.
I don't feel good about Jabari either, though. I mean, Jabari. I just feel like I don't know, the possibility of him being like an all-star or all NBA. Just he would have to be
like
giant Klay Thompson, like everybody thought he would. Like that's what people kind of fantasized.
Yeah.
With him.
I feel better about putting Jabari there than Benedict.
Okay.
I still don't love all this, but
yeah, this feels gross. There's a lot of this that just feels a little gross. I could be underrating Ivy and Shaden Sharp for sure.
Yeah.
Like I could see a world where Jalen Duren needs to be moved down to role player. And one of those guys needs to be moved over.
Yeah, because who is a good example of like well, I guess we're just talking about starter key bench. So, you know, we can compare him like to the Steven Adams role, which he absolutely could hit that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not unrealistic.
Yeah.
Just based on his like strength, athleticism, his ability to move his feet. Like he's got a lot.
Part of why this is so difficult is because it just happened. A year from now, this is going to be a lot easier.
Yes, just like 21. Like after their rookie seasons, it would have been a lot harder. Like Duarte, we would have been like, oh man, Duarte, he probably needs to be a starter, right? You know,
Primo, obviously, Primo would have been higher.
Yeah, Primo would have been higher. Even Zaire Williams did not have a bad rookie season.
Yeah,
you know, and like. Also, like Oos might have a great second season, and Dyson Daniels may never play. You know, right. We just don't know. Like there's way too much that we don't know, and maybe Jabari has just an awesome second season when they get an actual point guard in there. Let's say James Harden goes there, and it unlocks Jabari. Like that's possible.
Yeah. Okay, so let me do a little recap. I realize people are listening. So 2022, we just did it. The All-NBA to Fringe All-Star players, we get 4 of them. We picked Paolo, Chet, J-Dub, and Jabari Smith Jr. We don't feel great about it, but we don't know who else we want.
Yeah.
Starter key bench players, only 3 of them, Keegan, Jalen Duren, and Matherin. Role players, Jaden Ivey, Sohan, Dyson Daniels, Shaden Sharp. A lot of upside there. A lot of upside in our role player group. And then fringe out of the league, we had Johnny Davis, Usman Jang, and Ochai Agbaji. It's a tough one. Now it gets super tough, and this was the entire reason why I wanted to
like
do
we need
this.
to switch Ivy and Matherin. I feel like we just need to keep bumping Matherin down.
I would be fine having Matherin role player. I would put Shaden there, but
That's fine. That's fine.
okay.
Yeah, Shaden is fine. I actually think we need to put Matherin in fringe out of the let's move Oos up. No, I'm just kidding.
He's gone from all NBA to out of the league in 10 minutes.
It's tough. Especially scores like that it's tough.
Yeah. Okay, now the entire reason I wanted to do this was to try to figure out if we're able to have some strong opinions on the 2023 class, the upcoming draft class. Now, the players I chose for the lottery, Wemby, Scoot, Brandon Miller, the Thompson twins, Cam Whitmore, Jarris Walker, Anthony Black, Taylor Hendricks, Grady Dick. I feel pretty good about those 10. And then Kaysen Wallace, Kobe Buffkin, Derek Lively, and Bilal Coulibaly. So we can start with Wemby. That's easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
And
3 more. Scoot.
I'm guessing you'd feel good about Scoot.
Scoot.
I would say Taylor Hendricks starter.
Hold on. Can we let's work our way down?
Are there any other players that you feel like super confident as far as they're like all NBA fringe all-star?
I think Brandon Miller has like a ton of potential. Michaela and I were talking about this after the pod the other day.
Yeah.
Is like, who is the best pull-up shooter in this class?
Yeah.
It's just a hard question to answer. Like, it's Wemby. Like, is Brandon Miller the next one?
Maybe.
Like, who's the next like pull-up shooter in this class? Like, you don't feel comfortable saying that for the Thompson twins. Maybe it's Cam Whitmore.
Yeah.
Like, maybe Cam is like the next one where I could just see him scoring a lot.
I didn't think you would say that, but that's who I would pick as well as the 4th all NBA to fringe all-star guy.
He's 3rd on Vicini's top 100.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And like, I trust his feel for a lot of this. And like, Whitmore's not, and we haven't talked about him favorably on this podcast just because I just don't think he possesses the what it takes to be a Thunder player at a high level. But like, that doesn't go for every other team in the league, you know?
Yeah.
So I think if you're Houston, like, he's such a rocket. Oh my gosh, he's such a rocket.
Okay. I'm guessing you're going to say Anthony Black starter, key bench player.
Just hold your horses, man. Hold on.
I like how this game is stretched. I didn't tell Andrew what we were doing today. I didn't even tell him anything.
I'm trying to wrap my brain around this. Okay, starter, key bench player. I think that if Amin Thompson is who people think he is, then he has to be there.
See, I would say if Amin Thompson is who people think he is, he would have to be all NBA to fringe all-star. Like, is he really just going to be a starter key bench? I either think it's all the way.
So you're moving down.
Well, I'm saying you could put the Thompson twins as fringe out of the league.
That feels aggressive. All of these will feel aggressive to put any of them as fringe out of the league.
Okay, I feel good about Derek Lively, role player.
Yeah, that feels good.
Okay. Kaysen Wallace, we like him. Starter. I'm saying starter.
Yeah, I feel the same about Taylor Hendricks for almost any team. I feel the same about Anthony Black and Jarris Walker too. Move Kaysen down and put Anthony Black and Jarris Walker there.
Okay.
I think I feel good about those 3 there. Oh my gosh, what have we done?
This is my point. This is going to happen.
What have we
this
done?
lottery.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
In fact, if you look back,
Eric Name said move Cam Whitmore down to starter and move Amin Thompson to all NBA.
I mean, I'll be
And
honest. If we don't put Amen in All NBA, I'm putting him in
He's-
fringe out of the league because I don't.
he needs he's got to have the right situation. I honestly think that if Utah could get a hold of Amin Thompson, that would be an amazing situation for him.
Yeah,
Because
That
I think
makes
they're
sense.
going to just surround him with shooting, and I think Markkanen would be great for him to play off of. I think like that is such a great situation for him.
Okay, I'm going to make you choose one of these four: Taylor Hendricks, Jarris Walker, Anthony Black, or Cam Whitmore, to remove from the starter key bench category and into a role player.
Oh boy, I think it's most likely. Oh, this is painful.
I think I might go Hendricks.
Yeah, I think Hendricks is most likely just because he doesn't have the decision making or like that necessarily the high scoring upside that Cam has.
And like I know people have issues with Anthony Black, but I just think if he's going to stick in the league, it's going to be because he's a starter or key bench player. I don't really see his mold being like a role player necessarily.
Yeah.
Whereas Hendricks could just be like a good shooter and a big off the bench who's like a solid role player.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Anthony Black could end up being like Sean Livingston. Like Sean Livingston was probably just a role player, but Livingston was also just so hampered by his injuries.
Okay, Andrew, I have a feeling what we're already going to do. I'm putting Asar Thompson fringe out of the league.
Okay.
I'm putting Bilal Coulibaly fringe out of the league. Now it comes down to Grady Dick versus Kobe Buffkin. One will be a role player sticking in the NBA for years and years, and the other will be out of the league.
We can actually still move other players down.
That is true.
I would probably move Derek Lively down
to fringe out of the league and then put both of these two guys.
Yeah. I feel better about that. I feel better about that. Mostly just because I don't consider Derek Lively to actually be a Thunder target, which probably means they're definitely taking him.
So to recap, all NBA to fringe all-star for the upcoming draft: Wemby, Scoot, Brandon Miller, Amen Thompson.
Okay.
Starter key bench players, there are 3 of them: Jarris Walker, Anthony Black, Cam Whitmore. Role players, 4 of them: Kobe Buffkin, Kaysen Wallace, Taylor Hendricks, Grady Dick.
Yeah.
And then fringe or out of the league, there are 3 of them: Asar Thompson, Bilal Coulibaly, and Derek Lively III.
I think I actually feel pretty good about that.
It's so hard. And you look at fringe out of the league, like I'm going back here. Like the lowest there's been is 2.
Yeah.
There's been at least 2 every year, guys taken in the lottery who are either just completely fringe NBA players like a Chris Dunn, or guys who are just out of the league like a Jarrett Culver by the time they get to their second contract.
Yeah.
And that is terrifying because, again, I go back to the guys who are projected to be in the lottery of this draft, and I like all of them.
Yeah.
I feel pretty – I've been convinced on all of these guys in some respects.
Yeah.
And to know that likely 2 to 4 of them are just not going to work out at all, and trying to figure out who I would like bet on right now for that, it's very hard.
It's really difficult.
I will say though, going back, I do think 2022 is the toughest right now. It will get easier next year, but that I'm struggling with that even looking at it right now. Like it feels bad putting Jaden Ivey in role player, obviously.
Yeah, I really think the third slot of all NBA to role player is going to like shift, and even out to fringe, because that, like Abaji could show that he's like way more than fringe out of the league, and Jang could do something next year. You know, Johnny Davis like still has a chance to redeem himself. You know, and like somebody's gonna fall off. I mean, it's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna fall off. It's tough though.
Whew. You made it though.
That was great and stressful and awesome. No, that's a good idea. Yeah, that's what you kind of have to remember is like the draft is so hard, man. The draft is so difficult, and the way that we think about a lot of these guys. I mean, I remember listening to podcasts about, was it that 2016 draft? 2016, where people were talking about Marquise Chris.
Oh, Marquise Chris was seen as like the last good player before a drop off.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I remember. Yeah. And the Buddy Hield Jamal Murray debates, and
that's why that
being like this, like, oh my gosh, what could Dragon Bender be? And like Dragon Bender from Maccabi Tel Aviv averaged 2 points per game.
That's why I remember the trade that night. Sacramento traded that 8th pick to the Suns, and they got back like the Papa G pick. But I thought everyone kind of thought it was such an amazing deal for Phoenix because it was like they moved back to the perfect point where we all thought this is going to be the cutoff.
Yeah.
And they got the last like good player in the draft.
Yeah, they got Bender and Chris, which were like the 2 mega busts. They got both of them. They got both of them.
I mean, yes, they missed out on those top 3, but Buddy Hield, Jamal Murray, Jakob Poeltl, Sabonis, like they were all mixed in there.
Even if they just like took Torian Prince, at least we got a role player. You just don't know. The way that we talk about a lot of these guys, we talk with such certainty. We talk with such like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to be this guy's going to be that. And you just don't know. And we also talk about like value and order, like, oh, it'd be such great value to get this guy at this level, or great value there. It's all so subjective to basically what the guys who make the mock drafts do. Like and then when you get to the actual draft, like I guarantee you on draft night, people talked about what great value it was for the Magic to get Jalen Suggs in 21.
Oh,
what
for sure.
Great value.
You did.
I guarantee you I said those words. What a value pick at 5 for Orlando. And yet it was not the right one. It was not it. That was not it. Even Kuminga at 7, what a great value for the Warriors. People are gonna say these same things about somebody that drops. And the truth is, like, a lot of the reason these guys drop is that they're just not that good.
Yeah, there is like, because there are times like Tyrese Halliburton is an example where everyone felt like he was dropping in the moment.
Yeah.
And then it became like this great pick. But much more often when a guy is dropping, I think back to who was the guy? He played for the Blazers. Andrew.
Wait, when?
He was a big. Oh my God, I have to go find this guy, or I'm going to die. I have to find this man.
What year was this draft?
No idea. I have no information for you. Noah Vonleh.
Oh, Noah Vonleh.
Noah Vonleh.
Yeah.
In the lead up to that draft, people were like, he could go as high as 4. And then when he fell to 9, it was seen as like this huge steal.
Oh,
at
yeah.
the time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It turned out to be nothing. There's probably a guy in every draft who like fell, like Justice Winslow, 2015. He was a faller. Let's just go through them one by one. We have nothing to do. We talked about Marquise Chris already. We already did that draft. 2017. Dennis Smith Jr. falling to 9.
Oh, what a great value pick for the Mavericks is what was said on draft night.
Was not thinking about Donovan Mitchell that way, who was taken at 13.
No, that's the thing. Is like it's all subjective and mostly wrong. Most of the guys that like really fall on draft night, like who has been awesome, that's just been like, oh man, they're a faller.
Probably Michael Porter Jr. because I'm going with the next draft.
And PJ, but it was for injury reasons, not necessarily because people.
Which, by the way, did you listen to Bill Simmons' podcast with Doc Rivers?
No.
So he was talking about MPJ, and he was saying, people at that time thought he was like a bad character guy, and you could tell because he was with the Clippers at that time. He was probably talking about opinions of the Clippers front office about MPJ.
Yeah.
But then he goes, and we drafted Shea, but then we had that next pick and we took Jerome Allen. He didn't get the guy's name.
He said Jerome Allen.
I heard Jerome Allen. It was definitely not Jerome Robinson, which is his name. I thought that was
amazing. That's amazing. I didn't even know his name.
2019, Cam Reddish.
Cam Reddish was a faller, and definitely was somebody that people thought very highly of.
2021. I'm trying to think who we would
You
have.
even go through the mystery men of each draft, and
Yeah,
like
Moses Moody, I would say, was the faller from 2021.
yeah, and he's not been awesome.
Yeah, we'll see. 2022, was there a faller last year? I guess Jalen Duren.
Yeah, Duran definitely fell.
AJ Griffin.
AJ Griffin was a faller. Yeah, for sure. AJ Griffin might be the one because some people thought about him in the top 10.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, and at the end of the Hawks season, he just wasn't playing, which could mean something, could mean nothing. We don't know yet on that one because he's like, I think he was one of the youngest guys in the draft outside of Duran. So, yeah, the draft is really difficult, and we feel like we know so much at this point because we've absorbed so much information about these guys. And like over the course of the next week, we're going to absorb even more information and we're going to feel even more emboldened to what we think about these guys. And the truth is, like, we just don't know.
Oh, wait.
And the NBA teams don't know either. I mean,
Do you have 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Because I forgot, there's one more thing. On average, there are 2.5 All-NBA players per lottery, which means out of these 16 players that we have put over the 2020 to 2023 drafts, 10 of them will be All-NBA players.
Okay.
So let's start back here. I would say Anthony Edwards.
For sure.
That feels pretty solid.
Yeah.
Let's go to ones that we feel great about. So I already did Wembanyama.
Yeah.
I would say Paulo. Good.
You're going to drag him over?
What? No, I'm putting asterisks.
Oh, you're putting Oh, I see it now.
Yeah. Evan Mobley, I feel pretty good about. That's 4. We have 6 more. We have a lot of options. We have 6 options to go.
LaMelo,
All NBA. Okay.
Yep.
I might actually go Tyrese as well.
I
could see him getting All NBA.
It's possible.
We have 4 left. 4 players left. You'd probably go Chet over like Giddey?
Probably
All NBA.
Probably so. Yeah.
And you'd probably still go Cade.
I'd probably still go Cade. Yes.
So that is 8. So we have 2 more.
Scoot.
Final one. Final NBA player. Our options are Devin Vassell, Franz Wagner, Josh Giddey, J-Dub, Jabari Smith Jr., Brandon Miller, Amen Thompson.
If Amen Thompson hits, like,
I like how he has gone. I was talking about him for fringe out of the league, and now he's going to be one of our 10.
Like he's somebody that will have the ball in his hands a ton. That's what's tough with like Brandon Miller, even J-Dub and Jabari and Franz and Giddey. Like Giddey on his own team might be able to get there, but I think it's going to be tough on this team for him to get there.
Yeah, as we've gone through this, I mean, Amen definitely feels like the biggest boom or bust just because everything needs to come together, but it's also, if it does come together, it's very obvious how it's going to work.
The situation just has to be right for him.
Yeah.
I think,
which I don't think is being drafted by Houston and then bringing back James Harden. I do not think that is the situation. Now, if they don't bring back James Harden, fine. I think that could work.
Yeah, even then, I just don't love it for him, but it'd be fine. There's definitely a path there for that.
Yeah.
Like maybe if the Wizards decided to just like rebuild and like the start of their rebuild was Amen Thompson as their point guard, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Like it's possible. Are we underrating guys for this position? We're probably underrating. I'm definitely underrating Wagner for that.
Yeah, I would. I mean, if I was choosing, I'd go Wagner over a couple of these guys.
Which ones would you go Wagner over?
So part of my thinking is that I think Wagner's going to be on a winning team, and I think that's going to help him when it comes to All NBA. Whereas someone like LaMelo, like is LaMelo going to be on a team that wins any games in the foreseeable future? I'm not sure.
my only argument would be LaMelo is going to be the best player on that team if they win like 40 games. And like we just saw Shea make first team All NBA and the Thunder won 41 games.
Yeah, but it was a weird year. I just think it is very hard to make it as a guard. I don't know. I would still probably go Franz over like Scoot, Amen.
Yeah. And honestly, like choosing 3 guys from this upcoming class is just like, I don't know, anything could happen, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Because we don't know. We don't know what Scoot looks like. I mean, I would have definitely had, you know, Jalen Suggs as somebody that was going to be All NBA if we were talking about like the upcoming.
Oh, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who'd still have Scotty Barnes.
Scotty, yeah. I think Jalen Green is somebody that
absolutely
talk to the right people would be there.
This is a loaded class. Absolutely.
21 is an absolutely loaded class. Yeah, it's a great class. It's the best one in recent history. For sure. Yeah. Hey, you should definitely be watching on YouTube. If you haven't watched, if you're listening to the podcast, go listen on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube page. Hey, if you're right now watching, hit the like button. I think it's down here, right here. Right there. Just click the like button. That helps us somehow, I believe. All right. The draft is in about a week. Again, Fassler Hall, Thursday night. Be there, be square. It's going to be really fun. Again, get there early so that you can get one of the limited edition Down to Dunk glasses and enjoy a beverage, enjoy some good food. The food there is really good at Fassler Hall. It's very, very good. The fries are very good. Got some good desserts as well. So get there early, hang out, watch the draft. It's going to be awesome. Hope you guys have an awesome Wednesday, and we'll talk to you guys again on Friday.